overfunctioning and doing things for people who are perfectly capable of doing the same things for themselves is actually bad for relationships. And it took me a really long time to learn this because I was always coming at the other person like, well, my partner or my ex, now I know that they have a lot of emotional problems. They can't do the work to heal themselves maybe because of an attachment wound. They don't know how to navigate their own healing. And now it's my job to come in and show them the path to a happier life. Hello friends, my name is Maria, and for almost 20 years I got my job description in my relationships all wrong. I thought it was my job to read books or watch videos for people in my life that I cared about in order to help them through their own struggles. And I completely understand. When you love someone, you do want to see them happy. But the trouble is, you can become pretty burnt out and resentful when all of your hard work, good intentions, and energy either fall on deaf ears or you get a completely underwhelming response from your under-functioning partner. And it's not just romantic partners. Going out into the world over-functioning and with wobbly boundaries can have you doing all kinds of jobs for other people who become complacent, and they never give you the payout that you feel like you deserve. So if you're ready to learn how you might be fudging when it comes to your job resume, then grab a bottle of nail polish and let's talk. One of the biggest ways I used to waste my own time was trying to solve problems for people that I cared about who, while they did express having a problem, they never actually asked me for help. And you can bet I did this a lot for my avoidant ex after he dumped me, ex being the key word there. And even though I would have put just as much time and care into helping him through an issue while we were dating, I, for whatever reason, had a big pattern of continuing to pour energy and love into people after they had ditched me. The big problem when you do things like this is people can use you as a sounding board. They can text you as someone they want a hit of validation from. They can sleep with you when they're lonely, but they never actually have to value what you have to say or even take your feelings into consideration. Because even though you continue to pour your time and love and energy into them, they can always turn around and say things like, well, we're not actually dating, so you have no right to be upset. We can really begin to gray the lines when it comes to boundaries with people who aren't really in our life anymore. And then, like I said at the beginning, we never really get the payout, the respect, the love, the attention that we feel like we rightfully deserve for continuing to cater to them. Let me go ahead and give you an example of overfunctioning for people who don't deserve it. There was one day where my dismissive avoidant ex, who at this time was my ex, he, for whatever reason that day, decided that he was feeling chatty. And he began to open up to me, which he seldom did since we had broken up. And he was talking to me about how he was kind of nervous because he wanted a raise at work, he wanted to get a promotion, but he felt like maybe they weren't going to give it to him. Now, instead of doing what I wish I had done in the first place, which was not ever texted him again after he broke up with me, I decided to go on Amazon and I purchased a book called Linchpin, which actually is a pretty good book. But I'm sure I invested about $14.99 in the book, and I went ahead and read the entire book in order to help him with his problem that he was having at work. And I remember the weekend I had finished the book, and I'm sure it was a Friday or Saturday night, and I decided to text him, and I wanted to continue talking to him about these struggles that he was having, and I was excited to share with him all of the things that I had learned so he could get that raise that he wanted. Well, he pretty much blew off the entire conversation, even though I had learned valuable information that probably could have helped him get that raise. He didn't even care to listen to any of it. And after a couple of text messages back and forth, he just decided he was going to begin ignoring me completely and get on with whatever he was doing that night. Because that's what these kinds of people do, especially after they've already broken up with you. But I did continue to text him for quite a while after that because he was very good at intermittent reinforcement. Sometimes he would just completely ignore me, but sometimes it seemed like he felt like talking. But I must emphasize, he almost never agreed to see me in person. Is this the kind of situation that you find yourself in right now? Because if you are, I'm going to tell you a little something about the person that you're in this weird relationship dynamic with right now. Or, you know what? Even if you're in a full-blown relationship with this person, people who only text you back whenever they feel like it, these people are barely functioning in a relationship. Now you are filling in all the gaps. And you could argue, well, Maria, what if this is your ex? There is no relationship. But this is where breakups with avoidance get a little weird because the breakups come out of nowhere. Of course, we still love them and they leave the door open. They'll still talk to you. They might even still meet up with you once in a while. Heck, they might even continue to sleep with you. So there is a relationship, only it's changed. You see, even though your ex changed the terms of your relationship, you're probably having a really hard time changing your job description because you love them. You're still showing up and doing your very best for them. It can cause you to put in all kinds of energy that is simply no longer necessary. And I have a comment from one of my viewers who was kind enough to allow me to share it on the video today. It was something he did for his ex after she broke up with him. Battlefield 137 said, I put a whole spa package together for my ex because she was stressed after breaking up with me. Then I wrote her a nice poem about the person that she doesn't see or anyone ever told her that she is. I had it printed on canvas and put in a custom frame so she could put it on her wall. FML. You know what, Battlefield? I am totally with you on the whole FML thing because unfortunately, these are the actions that when we look back, we regret them because we realize we're doing these things for someone who did not value us enough to stay in a relationship with us. But I do want to say at the end of the day, what you are doing, you are treating someone that you love like you love them. And that is beautiful. But what we really need to work on is setting boundaries around our generous actions. You know, spa days and poems and custom frames. These are things that we do for people who are in a relationship with us, not people who have cast us aside. And this, I truly believe, is a big trauma response. I have another video I'll link down below about why it's so important that we don't begin to show the other person what we have to offer and negotiating our value after they've broken up with us. But I know that for me, personally, the breakup was so sudden. There was no part of me that could believe that he had simply fallen out of love that quickly. And I was definitely in denial that our relationship as I knew it was over. And yes, I do believe that a lot of us go into denial because the breakup with an avoidant, it seemingly comes out of nowhere. Listen, you're not crazy. You know in your gut that something about that breakup doesn't add up because human beings can't just fall out of love at the drop of a hat, even though I know dismissive avoidance, they're really good at making it seem that way. So they break up with us, we continue to love them and text them and check on them. We have not changed our job description until we go online, and that's when we learn about attachment styles. When you learn that your avoidant ex does love you, they only broke up with you out of fear, and that's what's causing them to run, well, here's where you decide that you're going to change up the old job description. You're no longer their partner or their ex. You now become their safe space, their rock, that person who makes the commitment that you will always be there for them, no matter how far they run. But little do you know, they're also changing your job description. You are now the whipping boy for everything their ex ever did to them. Or how fun you can become their friend with benefits because the relationship ended so suddenly, and it ended out of fear, right? Not because they weren't attracted to you anymore. They probably still think you're pretty hot, but welcome to the other half, where we know attraction is not just about looks. We also have to take care of the inner half. Because if we do not protect and enforce our boundaries, then the boundary does not exist. And here's the bottom line. If you continue to do all these wonderful, loving little jobs for people who have tried to walk away from you, not only will they never value you, but they won't respect you either. And if someone does not respect you, then they can never truly love you. And guess what? That also goes for you. Please have enough respect for yourself not to go out of your way and do something loving and caring for someone who has dumped you today. Plus, I gotta tell you, if you agree to all these new job descriptions that you're giving yourself like a therapist and they're giving you like the whipping boy, I mean, you are being massively undercompensated for your time. You won't believe the amount of time and energy you get back when you pull your focus off of someone who is ignoring you. That linchpin book that I read for my ex, it actually had some pretty valuable information in it. And you know what? What's funny is at that time in my life, I could have really used the advice. So technically, I guess I am glad I read the book. But I shouldn't have been so worried about focusing on someone else. He didn't ask for my help. He was only complaining. And that's actually another thing that I really want to emphasize today. Because even if we have very good friendships, let's say you have a great relationship with someone, sometimes people do just want to complain. They're not necessarily asking for your help. So if you have an issue with blurry boundaries and overgiving or people pleasing, that's one of the biggest things that I changed. I just kind of leaned back. And if I had a friend or a partner, a family member, someone I really care about, specifically ask me for help, you bet your bottom dollar I'm going to do everything I can to help them. But if they're just complaining, I just offer a friendly ear. And these are just little things that we work on in order to strengthen our boundaries. And it shows us that people can love us without us having to jump through hoops for them. The only reason you feel like you have to do that now is because you are in a situationship or relationship with someone who simply does not value you, and that is not okay. You know what's so funny? Just last night I was watching, have you guys ever seen 1,000-Pound Sisters? And Tammy can walk, but she's over 600 pounds, and she had her home health nurse with her, and there was a ramp. And this woman, I mean, she just couldn't push Tammy up the ramp. And Tammy was refusing to walk, and that home health nurse refused to push Tammy up the ramp because she knew that Tammy could walk. And they got into the car, and the home health nurse turned around and said, I am not going to hurt myself doing something for you that I know you are perfectly capable of. And damn straight, that lady, she is not wrong. But I know it is tough when you love someone, and that breakup does come out of nowhere. I mean, there's no time to switch gears. And I actually encourage you to go back in your mind and think about your role in the relationship that you had with your avoidant partner before the blindsiding breakup. before you ever learned anything about attachment styles. You were probably someone who was really enjoying the relationship. You were with them because you found them attractive and interesting, and you were having fun caring about them. You probably wanted someone to go bowling with or someone to watch movies with, but now it's like your job is being a detective and trying to solve the avoidant mystery, or in really codependent situations, you're playing the role of their therapist and you want them to open up to you so you can help them solve all of their problems. And while it is natural to want to relieve the suffering of those that we love, if they are not asking you for help, then your only job right now is to try to heal yourself after this nightmare of a breakup. And I know that's not easy, but don't worry. In my experience, even though it's tough to learn how to be a little more prickly with the people that we love, cactus makes perfect. This is not a pretty color, but dismissive avoidance, not necessarily a pretty subject. And if this video helped you, so will this one. My name is Maria Adriana. You did not have to live my life, but I certainly hope you can learn something from it. As always, thank you for visiting. The Other Half.